This sector dial by Miami-based micro brand Devo Watches is a work of art. Art Deco, that is. But it is also a really good affordable watch, and one that I think would make a great gift. Or at least it looked that way on Instagram. And that's why I reached out to Devo Watches and I asked if I could have a review sample. They sent this one in to me for free, and I don't have to return it. So obviously I have sold my soul to big micro brand, and nothing I can say from this point onward can be trusted. Now that's out of the way, let's get into this awesome little work of art deco. When I say little, I do mean little. It measures in at just a hair under 38 millimeters, and it has a lug-to-lug of only 46 millimeters. It takes 18 millimeter straps, and it's only 9 millimeters thick. Most of you are going to love these dimensions in a dress watch. And as for me, well, let's just say that my girth is just a little too much for it to handle. While this one may not be for me in terms of size, I like almost everything else about this watch. Let's start with the dial, which utilizes a tranquil pastel blue that is playful yet demure. According to Devo Watches, the design is heavily influenced by the pastel colors and the Art Deco design that can be found all over South Beach. To appreciate this design, we need to get close up and unpack the details layer by printed layer. On the periphery is an unbroken blue ring that pushes the next layer deeper into the dial. This accomplishes two things. First, it adds interest to the design, but it also enhances legibility as chapter rings that snug right up to the rehaut often become distorted at certain viewing angles. Next is a silver closed railroad, followed by a second chapter ring which is broken up by hour designations. This subtle dual design clearly demarcates minutes and hours when you glance at the watch. Moving inward, we have the hours ring in blue, with large crisp printed numbers at 12, 2, 4, 8, and 10. They wisely skipped adding a truncated 6. The double line in the section at odd hours further helps distinguish it from the other sectors and is visually interesting. At the center, we have loom-filled polished leaf hands, and the focal point of the dial culminates in the sub-seconds complication with a black seconds hand ticking happily away. It is at this point that many of you have clued into the fact that this is a quartz watch, and I can anticipate the comments now, if only this was an automatic watch. Let me suggest a few reasons why this is actually a very good choice of movement for this particular kind of watch. First of all, quartz is great for a dress watch. And I say that because we often don't wear dress watches every day unless we work in a very formal setting. So to have a dress watch that you can just throw on every few weeks or few months that's always set and ready to go is a good choice. It's going to be accurate and it's always going to be running. I also really appreciate that this Swiss quartz movement has a sub-seconds hand. That's because it's just not as obvious as it is on a traditional three-hander. Now, the fact that it's quartz means it's also thin, which is great for a dress watch, and this watch only comes in at 9 millimeters. And quartz is reliable. This watch is going to last for decades. All you're going to need to do is change that battery every few years. And the fact that it is a Swiss quartz is a really nice touch. Oh, did I mention that the Art Devo is $175? So that's why I think this would make a great gift. It's got a great Swiss movement. It's 100 meters water resistant. The finishing is quite nice. Everything is crisp and clean. And best of all, it's $175. I mean, you could pay the same amount of money for a mainline brand with way worse specs than this. Now, are you getting married in 2023? I think this would make a great groomsman gift. If you bought one of these for all of the guys in your party, depending on your budget, of course, it would be really cool and a great memento. Now, before we wrap this up, there are a few more details I think you'll want to know. Looking at the crown, you notice that it has an acrylic inlay. This is inspired by the Cartier tank, and it actually adds a really nice little touch to this watch. The case is highly polished. It has a classic Art Deco line to it, and it has these interesting crab claw lugs, which I really enjoy. It adds just a little bit of masculinity to a fairly dressy piece. The strap is padded and it's tapered. It's nice, genuine leather. It's a bit unrefined, especially in the stitching. But hey, if you've got 18mm straps laying around, you're gonna swap it out anyway. And it wears really well. Or at least it would if I had a smaller wrist. And I think that you're going to have to break in this padded strap for it to fit you like a glove. If I had one nitpick, it would be the handling. I'd like to see the hour hand lengthened to just reach out and touch that first chapter ring. And I'd like to see the minute hand lengthened just a little bit more to reach the railroad chapter ring as well. Now, lume is a luxury in a dress watch, but another nitpick is the lume on this is just not great. Honestly, I wasn't expecting it to be anyway. And the strap could be a little bit nicer, but I think that Devo Watches has put more money into the watch than the strap, and to me, that's a great recipe. So am I glad that I reached out to Devo Watches and checked out this watch? Is it as good as the Instagram pictures? Actually, I think it's just a little bit better. I have a couple nitpicks with it, but overall, this is a really nice watch. Well, a big thanks to you for watching, and thanks to Devo Watches for giving this to the channel. As for me, I'm probably going to gift this watch to somebody who appreciates Art Deco design, but doesn't have an 8.5-inch wrist. If you want to keep up to date with more content like this, then please like and subscribe. It really does help the channel and it keeps you informed.